All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the party. Today is Wednesday, August 27, 2025. This is episode 950 of Simply Cyber's Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast. I am your host, as always, Dr. Gerald Auger. And over the next hour, we're going to be going through the top cybersecurity news stories of the day, and I'll be breaking them down, giving my expert opinion and hot takes on each of those, on what it means to you as a practitioner. So how can you use that information to drive cyber risk reduction for your business stakeholders, as well as if you're crushing it in interviews, having, insights on what hiring managers might be saying, giving you intelligence to be able to say, oh, you know what? Like, actually, I just heard about this thing the other day, and it's totally relevant to the question you're asking me. Really taking you from the classroom into the actual trenches, if you will, which is going to be huge value for you as always. I do want to preface the show by saying welcome to the first timers. This is an experience. This show's an hour-long total. A lot of community, a lot of good vibes, a lot of inclusion. What it is not is a speed run of the top cyber news stories in 5 minutes or less. Had some people on YouTube drop comments about how they don't understand how the show works, and they're upset about it. So let me lay out very crystal clear expectations. Over the next hour, me and chat right above my head, like Sam and Marcus Kyler, Phil Stafford, and you are going to be going through these news, as well as celebrating each other's wins, talking about opportunities, and having a good time doing it. So if that's what you're all about, get in here. If all you want's the news, there's lots of other opportunities for you out there. I hope you find what you're looking for. I also want to let everybody know, very special segment. I have flirted with this in the past. It's never to come to fruition, but we're going to be doing it today, and I think I might make this a regular segment. So, hear me out or work with me. At 9 o'clock at the top of the hour, we're going to actually have a hiring manager come on for 5 minutes. He's going to be talking about this role right here, which I've linked in the YouTube chat. This is an open position for a senior consultant role. Completely remote, with a wicked good company. My buddy works there. The hiring manager is going to come on and answer any questions for 5 minutes. And then the hiring manager is actually going to stay for jawjacking as well. I'm going to link this right here. But if you're currently unhappy at your job, looking for a job, whatever it is, and you're interested in, you're a bit of a mid-career practitioner looking for kind of the next step, all that stuff, get in here. Here's a link one more time to the job posting so you can review it before 9 o'clock, right? There we go. So you can review it by 9 o'clock. The hiring manager is going to come in and break down the position quickly in 5 minutes or less, and then field any questions that you have about the position, tell you how to apply for it if you want. This is what I'm trying to do. I've got another position. I have a director, all you GRC people, I have a director of information security operations reporting to the CIO position for next week. So come at me, bro. Talk about delivering value. Get in here. All right, so stay tuned for that. As always, every single episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief is worth half a CPE. So say what's up in chat, grab a screenshot, divide by 2. That's how many CPEs you get for the episode for the year. So you can get up to 120. Don't be shy. It's all about good times up in this piece. Now, I want to say every single day has a special segment. And again, if you're looking for the news only, you're going to get more than that, okay? This is not, this is like going to a really nice restaurant, right? Like if you're just looking to eat a cheeseburger as quickly as possible and get back on the road, maybe you don't want to go to a multi-course menu restaurant, right? You don't want to take your time. That's fine. That's fine. But on Wednesdays, we go around the world, Worldwide Wednesday, every single Wednesday, where we actually outline how amazing this community is. And I got to tell you, it is amazing. So stay tuned for that in just a hot minute. All right, Chad Green thinks that the show's awesome. Chad Green, what's up, bro? Yes, Ric Flair says hello. All right, guys. Hey, it wouldn't be, the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. I wouldn't be able to bring on job hiring managers. I wouldn't be able to have these cool graphics without the stream sponsors. So thank you to them, Barricade Cyber, Antisyphon, Threat Locker, and Flair. I'll do most of these at the mid-roll, but really quick just to remind everybody, because it's timely as of today. Antisyphon Training's Blue Team Summit drops today. Good morning, Hamburglar. Good to see you. 28 months in squad membership. Blue Team Summit, it's today. Too late will be the cry when Blue Team Summit passes you by. August 27th, today at 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. 5 hours of content. Multiple Simply Cyber community members speaking at this summit. Dudes, this is such a great opportunity. 5 CPs, loads of community, all about good times. So you got one chance left. Make it like Eminem. If you got one shot, seize the moment. It's been a minute since I heard that 8 Mile song, but you know what I'm saying. You sing it in your head. Go to Blue Team Summit. Holla. All right, guys. If today's your first episode, drop a hashtag first timer in chat. Mods, keep an eye out for the first timers. Squad members, also keep an eye out for those first timers. Whenever I see the Wrecking Ball emote or the John McClane Die Hard emote, it's always a visual indicator to me to know that we've got some action going on in the community. Big fan. Hopefully you guys like the new graphics package. Been dealing with that, getting it rolled out. Shout out to Kathy Chambers and Chambers Media Group for hooking that up as always. All right, guys, do me a favor. I want to get to the news, but I can't yet because we've got work to do. We've got fun times work to do. Here's what's happening. Listen to the music. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. Oh, it's happening. Let's go. All right, listen, dude. Every single Wednesday, we go around the world with this community, and it's as simple as this. I'm going to set the timer to 2 minutes. I'm going to ask you where you are. Runfish, first timer in chat. Welcome to the party, pal. Listen, Runfish, I'm going to ask you where you are. You just put it in chat, okay? I don't want your home address. I just want to know what country you're in. OPSEC's fine. And I'm going to mark it up on this map, and we're going to see if we can get every continent in 2 minutes. So let me set the timer. Timer set. Let's go. Tell me where you're at. Where you at? Texas. Carrie's in Texas. V. Brown is in Dirty Jers. What up? Let's keep going. Cyber Risk Witch is in Virginia. Good to have you here. Gulf Coast, Carrie. New Orleans, my man Gary Sergiatis. Love him. Dallas, Texas in the hizzy. Angular's in Cali getting up early this morning. What's up, Duck Grunt in Denver? Kenya, Collins bringing on Africa online. Columbia, South Carolina, we got the Midlands, Tampa Bay, baby. Trinidad, Tobago between Germany and France. I'm not going to do a trivia right now. I just need the country. So whatever's between Germany and France, if someone can tell me. All right. Hey, what's up, Strizzle Dizzle? First timer. Welcome to the party, pal. All right. Colombia's in the house. Probably Andres Molina. If it's not, welcome to the party either way. We got South America online. Austria, baby. Yes, sir. All right, hold on. We got to get in here. We got to zoom in on Austria. Nice. Arnold Schwarzenegger's own Ethiopia. Dude, mods are killing it today. Thank you so very much. Welcome, Runfish. Montreal, Bonnie Charles bringing on Canada. United States is on here, of course. Hey. Juan David Aragon bringing on Colombia. Thank you, sir. Bangladesh. What's up, Bangladesh? Asia is online. Easton, PA. Amelia, I know about the Crayola factory up in there. I actually owned property in Easton, PA for a minute. Weird story. Okeechobee, Florida. More Christian Ocampo. Colombia's coming in strong. Space Taco said she saw Australia. We'll mark it. Let's go. Chi-Town. What up, Chicago? Good to see you. Jack Joy's VPN says Romania. We'll count it. Luxembourg is in the house, apparently. Let's go. Nice. What else? Where we got? Botswana. Botswana is definitely Africa. I want to say Botswana. Here. Might as well use this tool that Marcus made. Botswana, landlocked South Africa. Nazareth, PA. Robert Hendrickson, also in Australia. Good day, mate. Port Zero up in the Midlands. Code Brew in the upstate. Finland. Holy Jesus. Philippines, yes, sir. All right, we're just doing some quick cleanup here. Finland, Scandinavia online. Baby, look at this. All right, hold on. Let's take stock here really quickly. L. Dowings in North Carolina. North America, sure. Colombia, there's a whole faction of you all down in Colombia representing South America this morning. Africa's strong representation on the south and eastern fronts. Europe, we're here. Bangladesh holding down the entire continent of Asia along with the Philippines and Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how you do it. We just went around the world. Congratulations, everybody. All about good times, all about community. And this right here just shows you Tanzania. Don't want to sleep on Tanzania. Just shows you just how amazing this community is. So it's not a fluke. It's not some echo chamber. This is diverse. This is inclusive. This is what it looks like when you put the work in and do it. And I thank you, Simply Cyber community. But now what we got to do is we got to put in the work. So do me a favor, sit back, relax, and let's let the cool sounds of the hot news wash over us in an awesome wave. I'll see you guys at the mid-roll.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. I'm Sarah Lane. Whistleblower says Doge put critical social security data at risk. Charles Borges, Chief Data Officer at the Social Security Administration, filed a whistleblower complaint alleging that the Department of Government Efficiency improperly uploaded SSA's Numident database, containing names, SSNs, addresses, and birth dates of nearly every American to a vulnerable cloud system. Borges warned this violates federal security rules and creates a high risk of identity theft and widespread harm if exposed, although no breach has been confirmed.
Oh, hey, really quickly, Sam Soyula, CISSP, says, and I quote, mentioned yesterday I got 2 offers for GRC compliance role, officially accepted offer yesterday. Thanks for all the education the Simply Cyber team gives. Ladies and gentlemen, I came in like the rain. Oh my God, so good, so good. A couple other first-timers in chat, Strizzle Dizzle and Runfish. Yes, sir. Welcome to the party. And if today's your first episode with us, drop a hashtag first-timer in chat. All right, so, okay, a couple things. One, Doge put critical social security data at risk. Now, the chief security officer of the administration is the one who filed the whistleblower report. Number one, this is a senior official, or senior ranking executive business person. So, of course, this is absolutely got to be treated very legitimately. This isn't like some disgruntled employee who just got fired or whatever. Secondly, and sadly, I'd have to read this, but I feel like Doge went ham on data, in the first, 30 days, right? Do you remember it was like sweaty balls or hot balls or something like that? There was a young guy who had a jaded past who was running things, and then Elon was involved. I can't remember that guy's name, but anyways, it was a bit of a I don't know. It didn't feel well structured. It just felt kind of like the Tasmanian devil spinning through things. And then this happened. So number one, this comes across as kind of weird to me. Big balls. Thank you, Code Brew. This comes across to me as weird because we're literally 8 months into the administration, and Doge's, I haven't really heard much about Doge. I don't even know, I assume Doge still exists, but it's not mainstream the way it was in January and February. So this report feels a bit, day late, dollar short, if you will. But the guy says that they copied data to an internal agency server that only Doge could access, foregoing the type of independent security monitoring normally required under agency policy, and creating enormous vulnerabilities. Now, I don't know about that. Listen, I don't believe it's appropriate for Doge to copy all this data off, okay? I think that that's a problem. Saying that there's enormous vulnerabilities, that I'm not 100% sure of. That's a statement that would indicate some insight into like that server's configuration, that server's access, who can access it, where can they access it from, what is the audit and logging on that. Now, in full disclosure, there's probably a good chance that it's not properly secured at a level that would be appropriate. The bigger problem to me is that I don't think it's appropriate for Doge to have copied all that data off. Listen, I've done, dozens and dozens of audits, okay, of federal IT systems. And I can tell you, when you audit, you do take evidence, right? You do take screenshots, you do get exports of data and stuff like that, but you would never take, hold on. I mean, is there an amount here? All social security numbers issued by the federal government, full names out. Like, you would never take this much data. Listen, when GRC Mafia, really quick, here's like a free lesson. Like, when you do audit, if you're going to do like an actual test of the efficacy of a control, right? Not do you require, like a perfect example would be like, oh, what happens when someone gets terminated voluntarily, like not fired, like they just quit. Oh, well, the manager of the person sends an email to HR. HR communicates to IT that the person's last day is this day, and then we disable access. Okay. Then you would say, hey, what I would like is HR to give me a list of the last 10 people who were terminated from the company. And then IT, I would like you to give me an output of their accounts in AD, these 10 people in AD, so I can see that the access is in fact disabled, right? And that's a perfect example. So that would be evidence that would include sensitive information. Now, typically, it's not going to be full database dumps. That makes no sense. There's no reason for that. But in full disclosure, maybe they did have a reason for that, but you would never dump the entire database, ever. So the fact that it's like up on a cloud server, that could just be and I'm trying to play devil's advocate, okay, and try to be like objective and see all the angles here. It could be that server is like the Doge's audit, repository for audits and stuff like that. So there could be a legitimate reason. Again, I don't know. This is the Social Security Administration's chief security officer, chief data officer whistleblowing. The chief data officer does not work at Doge, right? And Doge's processes and standards and stuff, he doesn't have insight into. So potentially that is secure. Again, I'm trying to be objective and devil's advocate. I suspect that this is probably a lot more messy than the whistleblower is probably accurate. So I hope that this gets sorted out. I will tell you two things. Number one, I'm glad that, this person felt confident enough to do a whistleblower. I would say that usually whistleblowers are kept anonymous. This guy's like full on front page with his face. So there's no anonymity there, which is okay. It's not a problem. But, and then he said that they potentially violated multiple federal statutes. Okay. So the term potentially gives this guy a lot of leeway, right? I could say potentially you're a criminal, right? Potentially, allegedly, possibly, right? I possibly ate an entire Cheesecake Factory German chocolate cake last night. Possibly. I potentially am going to end the stream right now. Potentially. Like, it's such a it's such a whatever. It's like saying something like, with all due respect, your breath stinks, right? It's like, you can't just preface it. What you're about to say, you got to have high confidence in. Right. So this dude, though, 22 years in the Navy, and he's got, a lot of experience. So we'll see. I think the problem is all this data is already out there. So, we'll see. It's not a good look.
CISA warns of actively exploited Git code execution flaw. CISA says an arbitrary code execution vulnerability in Git is actively being exploited due to mishandling carriage return characters in configuration files, letting attackers craft repositories with malicious submodules that execute code on users' machines. Git patched the issue in versions 2.43.7 through 2.50.1. Federal agencies have to apply the fix by September 15th or follow mitigation steps, including avoiding untrusted recursive submodules or disabling hooks. CISA also added 2 Citrix session recording flaws to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog.
All right, really quickly. So Git, if you're using Git, now many of us use Git, like GitHub, right? Host your own code or something like that. But Git is actually quite powerful for like enterprise code versioning control. So basically, really quickly, when you have multiple people working on software and there's just version control and making sure that things get checked in, and it's just a way to organize your data. If you don't have some type of code versioning system and you have multiple people working on a project, it can get quite messy quite quickly. Even if you're just a solo project person, if you don't have versioning control and you introduce a problem, being able to roll back is quite powerful, not just hitting Control Z in your editor. All right, so Git is software, though. It's basically like a platform as a service, and it's got a vulnerability, which allows arbitrary code execution basically on the server underneath. Now, if you're using GitHub, I don't suspect that this is an issue because that's like a hosted version of Git. But if you're running your own, this is where the problem lays. Let me look here. Something as simple as Git's mishandling of a carriage return, the old /r character in a config file, and it allows you to... All right. So listen, basically, this is kind of clever. Essentially, if you have a submodule that ends in a carriage return, glyph, or not glyph, but like Unicode, not Unicode, but like the friggin' /r, right? If it's like submodule 1/r, the threat actors can craft a symleak with a malicious hook setup, which I'm not exactly sure how to define that, which can lead to arbitrary code execution. So my suspicion is if you clone this down to your machine, when the Git module or whatever tries to process this submodule name, that /r will cause it to, I don't know, run the next command or whatever. I mean, I'd have to set this up, obviously, to understand it. But essentially, by doing that, the threat actor is able to run some type of code or some type of command. If I had to guess, it probably is something as simple as a reverse shell connect, right? That would be the obvious thing. Connect into your box or your listening service. And then once you're there, you can start running commands on the machine. Yep, it's a flaming donkey thing. I don't know. I would suspect that this is easy to patch just through validation, right? Basically. Let's see. It says go ahead and patch, but if not, then avoid recursive submodule cloning from untrusted sources. Sounds like a good practice in general. And you can disable Git hooks from the core.hooks path. As simple as that. So this is actually a relatively easy problem to solve. You gotta patch it. You gotta patch it, or you just gotta configure it not to happen. TLDR, if you're running Git version 2.4.3 through 2.5.0, get it sorted out. Tell your dev team, trust me, if you are a software company, then you know you're running this or not, okay? You can even make IT available, IT aware of this. Hey, IT, real quick, anybody using Git, this is I would almost position this as, this is an easy thing to avoid. Check out this story. Clever attack, easy to avoid, news at 11.
Alleged mastermind behind K-pop celebrity stock heist extradited to South Korea. South Korean authorities extradited a 34-year-old Chinese man from Thailand, suspected of a cyber heist targeting K-pop celebrities, including BTS singer Jungkook. Between August of 2023 and January of 2024, the attacker allegedly stole personal data from telecom firms to access victims' financial accounts, embezzling more than 36 billion won. That's around 27 million US dollars. The suspect admitted to some charges but denied others, with Interpol and Thai authorities involved in the investigation. Hundreds of Salesforce.
All right. I mean, I feel like this is like a throwback to yesteryear crime. So basically, this guy right here is a very successful, financially well-to-do entertainer. Okay, so this would be no different than Eminem or, Snoop Dogg or, whoever, right? The Verve. I recently heard about the Verve and their big song Bittersweet Symphony and about the rights to that song. Very interesting story. Go check it out. The Rolling Stones were making all the money off that until recently. Okay, so basically this guy's got a lot of money. This other dude, this mastermind, I feel like mastermind might be pretty loosely used here. This mastermind basically exploited access to financial systems, got into the dude's account and basically just started pulling money out. Now, this is fraudulent. They call it embezzlement, but it feels like fraud. I do want to point out this dude, like it's one thing to open the cookie jar and take one cookie out, look around, eat the cookie, and then leave. No one notices. This guy took the lid off the cookie jar and went full Cookie Monster on it, dumping the entire jar on his head. He literally embezzled $27 million from wealthy individuals, so multiple people. Who knows how many he took from this, but basically, he basically just got into the guy's financial accounts and posed as him and then moved the money. Like, I feel like this is no different than hacking into someone's bank account, creating a new vendor, and then paying the vendor, $27 million, right? Like, when I say full cookie jar, by the way, I'm saying like, I don't know, like, I don't know how much this person had or these people have, but like $27 million typically will, when you move large amounts of money, typically there's certain gates that get activated at certain levels of money, right? If you send $25 to me on Venmo, like no one's going to stop it, right? It's $25. Here you go. If I try to send, like I tried to send someone $5,000 one time and like my bank account got frozen and I had to call and I had to do all this verification and crap. And then finally they did it, right? So, which I'm fine with, like, let it go. Cause the day that someone hacks into my account and tries to send themselves $5,000, I'd be happy for the controls in place. That's all this is. So I don't know if this is necessarily a hacker necessarily, but let's see. I'm trying to see how the hacker piece gets in here. It's reported that his big hit music agency were quick to say it, whatever. Like, what did the hacker do? Like, they opened, yeah, it says they illegally siphoned out the securities account into 3 brokerage accounts. So, like, I don't know. Like, I guess it's hacked because they stole access to the accounts, but like, I don't know. Not quite 0 days, but you know what? Hey, dude made $27 million and he's going to go to jail, very likely.
Regulators, mount up.
Salesforce customers impacted by a tax spree linked to third-party AI agents. A data theft campaign compromised hundreds of Salesforce customers earlier this month after attackers exploited OAuth tokens stolen from SalesLoft Drift, a third-party AI sales agent. Google's threat intelligence group linked the spree to threat group UNC6395, which automated theft data between August 8th and the 18th, targeting credentials for AWS, Snowflake, and VPNs. SalesLoft and Salesforce revoked tokens on August 20th, but Google warns affected customers to treat their data as compromised and rotate credentials.
Yep. All right. Supply chain attack, Salesforce, huge data repository. Tons and tons of organizations use it. And they had a breach. Now, the OAuth tokens that the threat actors used was from Salesloft Drift. I don't even know if that's like a feature or module in Salesforce. I don't know if that's a third-party company that works and does things for Salesforce. Doesn't matter, because all your data belong to us, and it's gone, right? AI agent is what it is. A third-party AI agent has access. Dude, when you give these, you've got to remember this. This is like a new way of thinking, or whatever you want to call it, okay? AI is super cool. AI does super cool things, okay? And if you're going to get into agentic AI, which is like the new hotness, okay? So hot right now.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
If you're going to get into agentic AI, you've got to keep in mind this. Like, wrap your brain around this really quick. You're giving that agent access like it's a user. You're basically treating AI agents like users in your environment. So they have access to things. They do things. So when the AI agent gets compromised, or the credentials, the tokens, the cookies, like all the things that the agent uses, maybe a specific API for the agent, an API key, when those get compromised, they work fine for human, hackers or threat actors or whoever. And you got to keep an eye on that, dude. It's like, not just because it's AI doesn't mean it's like hands off, like Jesus take the wheel, AI take the wheel. We're good here. I'm just going to go grip my coffee and hang out. I've got AI doing it, right? Like, yes, there's a boatload of hype in the market around how AI is going to like free you up from doing anything. Like, I'm sure the mid-roll ad from CISO series is going to be some company talking about how AI makes it so you don't have to do your job anymore while appearing to do your job. It's access, guys. You can't. This is why I'm saying, like, first of all, I love cybersecurity. Second of all, GRC is important, which I know some people dunk on, but like, this is what I'm talking about. The data's already out there. If you hadn't done good access control, this may have not been a problem. Unlikely, but this is probably more rooted in the not detecting that the agent's tokens were being used maliciously, etc. But all this data is out there. So the guidance that companies are supposed to rotate their tokens and assume their data has been compromised, yeah, that's fine that's fine guidance. But that Salesforce data is me and you. Like, that's our data. So yeah, okay, like whatever. Rick Hendrick Chevrolet, who uses Salesforce as a back end to be able to market new car sales or whatever, Labor Day weekend sales. Like, Rick Hendrick Chevrolet doesn't give a damn. They're like, oh, well, this sucks, but whatever. Run the sales ads, because it's not our data specifically that got compromised. Like, this just goes back, okay? Like, the first story here, I'm starting to get a little hot right now, okay? The first story, Doge whistleblower, Social Security data at massive risk, names, addresses, socials. Oh my God. Ooh, let's stop the train and flip out about this. And then in the same breath, this Salesforce data, which probably honestly is even more sensitive, it's probably enriched data because you have millions of marketing dollars enriching all the data in your CRMs, gets breached, and people are like, well, we better rotate our tokens on to the next campaign. So yeah, this sucks. And it's definitely, to me, it's, I mean, obviously this Doge story is more about government control and bureaucracy and like, like the brittleness of government and stuff right now. And this is more about just general market. But my point is, like, this is a big deal. And I don't necessarily think that the companies are gonna, the companies aren't really impacted I guess to put it plainly. And until there is some type of punitive damage or punishment or some type of consequence for this type of action, it's not going to change. Guys, listen, I'll say this and then we'll move on to the mid-roll. Basic economics, okay? I'm a company that spends money, okay? I can spend money. I can not spend money and have profit. Oh yeah, getting paid, baby.
Straight cash, homie.
I can take some profit and I can spend it on new features or new marketing so I can make more profit.
Straight cash, homie.
Or I can take that money and invest it into cost centers, which is things that are good for your business that generate no revenue, like IT and cybersecurity. So I know we talk about business enablement and stuff like that, but really cybersecurity is a cost center for a business. That's why we have to beg, borrow, and steal from the CFO in order to get our projects funded, our initiatives funded. That's why I have an entire friggin' course with XM Cyber about how to talk to the board, most importantly, about getting money. All right? So when you're trying to convince businesses to spend money, their profit, reducing shareholder value, reducing all these things to invest in cybersecurity. And they're like, why? And it's like, well, did you see this huge breach? And they're like, yes, but there was no consequence for us. The data got out and we continued to do business. We still have access to the data. We're still able to sell. We're still able to do anything. And any criminal activity that happens with that data, it doesn't impact our business, our operations, our ability to make widgets, our ability to scale, our ability to go to Black Hat and have a $500,000 booth. If anything, it enables us to, get a discount on our Salesforce contract next year when it comes up for renewal. So there's no consequence, there's no incentive, and that's just the straight truth, right? So that's what's up.
Huge thanks to our sponsor, Profit Security. Your security analyst didn't sign up to chase false alarms all day, right? With Profit Security's AI SOC platform, they don't have to. It works like a tireless teammate, triaging and investigating alerts around the clock. Less burnout, better coverage, and more time for meaningful work. Learn more at profitsecurity.ai.
All right. Holla, 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 holla. All right. Shizzle my niz. If you want to know, I'll share it with you a little bit later. Let me stay on pace here because we're actually a few minutes behind. Guys, hey, really quick, I want to say thank you to the stream sponsors, Barricade, Antisyphon, Flare, and Threat Locker. Here, really quick, let me stop the music. Let me run the Threat Locker ad real quick, then we'll come back to Barricade and Flare Academy, and then we'll get back into the news. So let's do this really quick. I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, Threat Locker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Well, worry no more. You can harden your security with Threat Locker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust Threat Locker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. Threat Locker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Hero support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how Threat Locker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit threatlocker.com/dailycyber. Hey, thank you so very much. Also, Barricade Cyber Solutions with their Fortify 365 solution. Guys, if you're running M365 in your environment and you're still using the default configuration or barely configured it, you are missing out on a huge opportunity to increase the security posture of your business, and you're accidentally taking on risk that you don't need to. Go to fortify365.com today. Connect with the team at Barricade. Eric Taylor will answer the call, and they can come help you get your situation straightened out. These are set it controls that are in place. You don't have to keep maintaining them. And if you do, for some reason, Eric and the team can help educate you on how to do that. Don't do it alone. Don't take on this risk without any reason. Fortify365.com as always. And then finally, Flare Academy. Dude, Flare Academy is dropping knowledge bombs. If you go to simplycyber.io/flare, you will see it'll take you directly to this talk coming up September 23rd. You have plenty of time to register for this. It is a free 2-hour webinar from Flare Academy talking about Russian cyber criminal forums ecosystems. Listen, I am not going to create a sock puppet account and get into Russian cyber criminal forums. I'm not interested in taking on that risk. That is way too much risk for me and my family, but I would love to know about it, wouldn't you? So go to simplycyber.io/flare. Here, I'm going to put it in chat. Go to simplycyber.io/flare and register. I'm going to be there, okay? You're going to learn all about Russian cyber criminal forums for sure. Oleg Lipko is going to make it happen. Hell yeah. So thank you so very much, stream sponsors, and thank all of you for being here today. We did go around the world. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's jump to the laws and get back to the news. Here we go. Let it wash over you in an awesome wave. Let's go. All right, let's continue.
Shadow CAPTCHA exploits WordPress sites to spread ransomware, info stealers, and crypto miners. A new campaign dubbed Shadow CAPTCHA is exploiting over 100 compromised WordPress sites, sending visitors to fake CAPTCHA pages that then trick them into running malicious commands. The attacks deliver information stealers, ransomware, and crypto miners using ClickFix social engineering and Windows tools. Researchers say site admins need to patch WordPress plugins, enable MFA, and train users against ClickFix lures.
All right, yeah, this is a hot mess express really quickly. TLDR, a large-scale campaign exploiting WordPress, but it's also using ClickFix, which is something you should be aware of because patching your WordPress site isn't necessarily going to fix your ClickFix problems, okay? Really quick, I attended a talk at this last Friday at a conference. Red Canary was there giving a talk about threat intelligence briefings. And we already kind of knew this, but I mean, they had the telemetry or the data points to back it up. ClickFix and basically copy paste run type attacks is blowing up and it's highly successful. So let me tell you really quick what you need to know. Number one, ClickFix is basically an attack where a threat actor tricks your end user into copy, basically PowerShell, copy to the clipboard, right? Just copy, Control C, and then open a run window and hit Control V and enter and run it, okay? There's a couple ways to protect from this. One, don't let your end users run, start run type things. Don't let your end users run PowerShell. These can be difficult things to implement in practice, especially at, large and small businesses have their own challenges to dealing with this. Educate your end users that is never going to be a way to do business, okay? And it's not just a, oh, hey, like you've got a virus definition you need to update, or your Adobe's out of version, so hit this to update it. It'll be CAPTCHAs, right? We all have been trained to go to a website and, before we do anything, we have to like make the finger point in the right direction or click on all the bus stops or fire hydrants, move the puzzle piece. We're almost desensitized to dealing with those CAPTCHAs because we want to get to the information on the other side of the CAPTCHA. Threat actors know this, so the CAPTCHA will say, hit Control C, Control C, Windows key R, Control V, right? That's the captcha. So end users are just mindlessly doing it, and it's leading to compromise because once you run the code, it'll pull down second stage payload and start detonating on your box under the permission scope of the user themselves. All right. So WordPress, you got to patch it. You got to patch it. ClickFix, you got to educate your end users. And, I guess EDR solutions to prevent crypto miners and info stealers from running on your box. But dude, it's not a good look, okay? Also, they're using living off the land binaries, LOL bins. Definitely worth noting. LOL bins are not laughing out loud bins. They're literally living off the land, which is a great technique for pen testers in here. Really quick, Flaming Donkey's all about living off the land. And this basically means you don't bring your own payloads down, or you don't run your own custom binaries. You run the ones that are on the box because you know what comes with Windows operating system, or what comes with like a Linux distribution. So if you're using actual binaries that are going to be installed on the operating system anyways, the chances of them being detected as malicious is very, very low. Unless you have great detection engineers.
Nissan confirms design studio data breach claimed by Chilean ransomware. Nissan confirmed its Tokyo-based design subsidiary, Creative Box Inc., suffered a data breach after the Chilean ransomware group claimed to have stolen 4 terabytes of sensitive files, including 3D vehicle models, financial documents, and VR design workflows. The attackers posted sample images online and threatened to leak all the stolen data. Nissan says it contained the incident and has notified authorities.
All right. I didn't know this was pronounced Chilean. I pronounce this killing. Like killing me softly. One time. Drink. So whatever. I mean, basically Nissan Motor is a huge company. They own a subsidiary called CBI, which is a company I never heard of until today, Creative Box. And basically they do design stuff. To me, this is one of those, classic ransomware attacks where they basically, they probably weren't targeting Nissan or Creative Box. They probably had just a bunch of lures out there, and someone at Creative Box fell for it, got infected, reported into the killing, management console, and they said, "Oh, we got a good one here." Dude, this is like, I know the term phishing gets used often, but like, this is like literally what we're talking about, phishing. If you've ever been fishing, and I have been fishing and I'm terrible at it, so bear with me, but like, you throw a line in the water and maybe you get nothing, right? You throw a line in the water and maybe you catch a sunfish, a little guy, okay? Which would be like, I don't know, a 3-person business that's basically underwater and not worth attacking. And then sometimes you catch like a 75-foot hammerhead shark and you're like, holy crap, this thing's huge. That's what's happening. Like, they didn't know. In my estimate, they probably didn't know, unless they did like initial access brokers and they bought access to this company, which is possible. But my point is, I don't necessarily think like Creative Box Inc. was targeted for espionage capabilities. They don't care. It's all a numbers game for these ransomware threat actor groups.
Straight cash, homie.
They're trying to get paid. Hold on 1 second. There we go.
Auchan discloses data breach. Data of hundreds of thousands of customers exposed. French retailer Auchan disclosed a data breach affecting hundreds of thousands of its customers, with personal details tied to loyalty cards, including names, addresses, phone numbers, emails, and card numbers. Banking data, passwords, and PINs have not been exposed, but loyalty cards were deactivated and now have to be reissued within stores. This is Auchan's second breach in less than a year.
Ooh, second breach in less than a year. Hold on. To me, that means a couple things. Number one, dude, France has been getting smacked around wicked hard lately. Like Orange, the telecommunication company that looks like it's pronounced orange, getting hit. And now this Auger company. I don't even know what this company does. But what I wanted to do is LinkedIn. Dude, getting hit twice in 1 year, that's a resume generating event for a CISO all day long. Auchan, CISO. I'm just curious. LinkedIn, Let's see. This guy right here. Just take a look. Greater Lille Metropolitan. I don't know. Oh, this dude's been there. I can't read French, but this dude's been there for 9 years. Actually, he's been with Auchan for 20 years. Looks like he took a little bit of... No, this dude's been there 20 years. All right, this guy's fully embedded. Chances are he's not getting fired for a double breach. Normally you would, but most organizations nowadays, like you're switching jobs every couple years. Like this idea of getting the gold watch, 1950 style, like married to the company kind of thing, a company man, that doesn't exist really anymore. So this guy's like a throwback to yesteryear, but I'll tell you, normally multiple breaches in 1 year, that's like, I've got a meeting with my boss in HR that I wasn't expecting. What's this about? Yeah, that's keep an eye on this guy. Anyways, dude, whatever. Data breached. It's loyalty cards, so they know what you bought, when you bought it, all those things. You can buy that data from data brokers right now. So whatever. This is like to me, the takeaway here is that France has been getting slammed recently with cyber attacks. That's making news. Basically.
Nevada state websites, phone lines knocked offline by cyber attack. A cyber attack disrupted Nevada state government systems, websites, and phone lines on Sunday, forcing offices to close Monday and leaving the state website offline. Governor Joe Lombardo said emergency services are still available and officials are using workarounds while working with federal, local, and tribal partners to restore services. No group has claimed responsibility. Have you checked?
Okay, so again, another state. Listen, I have given this is a thing. State, local municipalities getting cyber attacked. I literally in this last year, I've gone and spoken to the state of Georgia's CIOs. Last Friday, I went and spoke to the state of South Carolina, critical infrastructure people. Like states are like, we've gone from like, oh, this is interesting to like, this is a pattern. This is a problem. We need to get education and start working towards solutions. States are getting hit. Nevada, welcome to the party, pal. As typical, a couple things to note here. One, they said emergency services are still operational. It's pretty common for emergency services to be on a separate dedicated system, literally for emergency purposes, LOL. But that's the deal. States, governments are nonprofits. You got to remember that. Like if they wanted to be lucrative, your taxes would go up and everybody complains about that. So you're trying to make $1 out of 15 cents like your Tupac up in here, trying to make an information security program on a limited budget. And that's just what's up. So Nevada got hit. They did say that no one's taken responsibility for it yet. Going back to this killing Nissan breach where I said they probably threw a bunch of lines out and got a bite and reeled it in, and then they figured it out. This is part of the operational threat actor workflow. So at this point, some ransomware as a service affiliate or some ransomware threat actor operator has probably had automation F up and deploy into Nevada. And right now they either haven't checked their administrator console to see that they've got a fish on the line, which would be Nevada, or they know that they've got the fish on the line, Nevada. But before they reel it in, they want to figure out how much money should we ask for? What makes sense? Because if you go to any victim, right, whether it's the state of Nevada, and it doesn't say ransomware in here, but all signs would indicate it's a ransomware attack. If you go to Nissan and you're like, we want $1,000. Nissan's like, sure, here's $1,000. Move along. And now you haven't done yourself any service as a threat actor. If you say to Nissan, we want, hold on, let me just do some quick math. Really, I like to say that about 3% of annual revenue is a good ransom to ask for. Not Threat Actor Academy.
This is for educational purposes only. Do not implement this strategy in practice.
Okay, so listen, they made $83 billion. Oh my God. Holy Jesus, Nissan. Wow. Okay. So Nissan made approximately $83 billion last year. So, 1% would be $830 million. I normally, when you're dealing with normal numbers, you would say 3% of annual revenue or profit. But asking for $2.4 billion actually seems quite excessive, even for a threat actor group. So let's say they go to Nissan and they ask for $10 million, $25 million. Nissan's probably likely to pay it because it's like not that much. You go to the state of Nevada and you ask for 25 million. State of Nevada is like, bro, can't help you, right? Absolutely end the conversation. But state of Nevada, maybe you say, hey, listen, $200,000 and we'll leave you alone. Okay. It's all about the threat actors maximizing their opportunities, just like any other business. Again, I'm not endorsing or condoning criminal behavior at all, but we need to understand their psyche, their logic, their operational workflows, their decision making, so we can better understand how we can defend and what we can expect. That's why we do the work. We are absolutely fools if we think, like if we just stop all the ransomware, we won't have to know how much they're going to charge. How much will they charge? I don't know. I guess we'll figure out when we get popped. It's like, no, information is valuable. Knowledge is power. Okay. If you ever played Mortal Kombat 2 back on Super Nintendo or in the arcade, before on the splash screen, it would start with knowledge is power. Okay. Throwback to yesteryear. My point is, it's true today. All right. Nevada, you got hosed. All right. Let's keep cooking here. All right. That's about to wrap it. But guys, before we go, I want to tell you a couple things. Number one, right at 9:30, we're going to be talking to Tom Van Norman and Don Weber. Dude, these guys are amazing. Okay, if you're interested in industrial control system security, which, by the way, CompTIA just released an OT certification. Mike Holcomb's super excited. Dude, if you want to get into ICS or OT, this is where you should start. Don Weber, Tom Van Norman. This is going to be at 9:30 a.m. today. Now, remember, don't go anywhere because we have a job posting that we're going to drop. Here's Simply ICS Cyber. Also, Eddie Miro, Black Badge from DEF CON, holding Eddie Miro and his show, Simply Social Engineering. This is the final episode of season 1, talking about how threat actors infiltrate remote work. If you've been joking about, hey, I wonder how North Koreans' resumes look because they're getting all these jobs, Eddie's going to get all into how they do social engineering to get those jobs. You don't want to miss this episode. I promise you. This is at 1 p.m. Eastern time today. So a lot of content on the show. A lot of content on the channel today for you guys. But before we get into all that, guys, it's time for some jawjacking. Remember, our first thing when we launch the jawjacking is we are going to be doing a job. We're going to have our friend Sean come on from High Point and share these things. He hasn't jumped into the studio yet, but we're going to figure it out. 1 second. Hold on. All right, guys, let's do this. I got a special little thing right here. Boom. Stay tuned for jawjacking. If you got to get out of here, take care. Hit the like button on the way out. If you enjoyed the show, tell a friend. If you didn't enjoy it, tell me. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. Until next time, stay secure. Let's go get jawjacking. Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jawjacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some Jawjacking. Hey, all right, welcome to Jawjacking. If you're new here, this is essentially a 30-minute AMA show where I will answer all your questions as possible. I'm trying out a special new segment where we're going to present you with an open job rec and have the actual hiring manager break it down for you. Now, this is, here he is. Good. I was actually just about to email you, Sean. All right, guys, check it out. If you want to know where this job posting is, it's basically right here. Okay, I'm going to drop a link in chat right now. This is the link that will take you directly to this. I shared it earlier in chat, so you had some time to review it. there's a lot. This is written by an HR group, so obviously there's like a lot of meat to this post. We got the hiring manager who's about to hop on here and break it down for us. And more importantly, answer any questions you have about this company, about this job. How much travel? Are there any ancillary benefits? Who's the manager? Do I get to work with you? You seem pretty cool. What about this Brandon guy? He's kind of cool, I've heard. We're going to answer all that in a hot minute. But before we do that, let me introduce you to our guest today, who's also going to stay afterwards and answer your questions as well. Ladies and gentlemen, from High Point, Sean Kilborn. Hey, Sean, how you doing?
Good, Jerry. How are you?
I'm good. Let me fix my mic so you're not hearing an echo. And then let me also, while you brief, I'm going to actually try to fix my camera because I'm typically not doing it this way. So, Sean, we've got this job at High Point, senior cybersecurity consultant, network security. Can you break down what the job actually is? I've shared it with chat right now, and there's a pinned comment for everybody on YouTube. So if you don't know what we're talking about, use that pinned comment. But Sean, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and then break this role down? Because everybody's super, super excited about it.
Yeah, sure. So Sean Kilborn, Director of Cybersecurity Services at High Point. High Point is a consulting company and value-added reseller, which means we resell products from a multitude of cyber vendors out there. You guys have probably heard of some of them, like Palo Alto, Cisco, Fortinet, things like that. We do quite a bit more than that, but my whole organization is focused more on the professional services that we wrap around those product sales. For example, we might go in and sell some Palo Alto firewalls or a SASE solution like Prisma. And then my group, one of my teams, the security engineering team, which is where this position would be on, goes in and helps those clients with the install, configuration. It could even be an upgrade. It could be a integration into their environment, kind of jack of all trades. And so my background, I've been in cyber for about 20 years, got started in the military. I was on the Navy blue team and red team years ago, about 20 years ago, and did some public sector, big company things, private sector, individual consulting. Most recently, before this, I was in the government sector doing some government sector consulting, and I was the deputy CISO of a critical national infrastructure project. And then now I've been here at High Point for about 15 months. And one of the things I'll tell you about High Point in general, a lot of people talk about culture. We actually live and breathe it. If you go to our website, highpoint.com, there's going to be a values section. You click on that, you're going to see 33 fundamentals on there. And we literally cycle through one of those as a company every single week. And an employee's picked to do a demonstration or video representation of what that individual fundamental means to them. So we're really big on that, and that's carries over to how we treat our clients too. And for example, this week's is do the right thing always. And that's number one, and it's number one for a reason, right? So from this position, we're looking for somebody who has a pretty good breadth of experience in, I would say, predominantly the first thing is going to be network engineering, right? So make sure somebody has a very good handle, maybe CCIE level on the network security side. And this position would be doing deployments, reconfigurations, architecture creation and modification for some of our biggest clients and biggest projects out there. It's really going to be I want somebody ideally who has experience with multiple platforms, but I think it should say in there, we're looking for Cisco, Palo, and Fortinet predominantly. And just as an example, yeah, I mean, it is very, HR centric here with some of the stuff in there, but we do have listed some of the individual products and product suites that we'd be looking for experience with. Now, obviously, I don't think I'm going to find somebody that's touched every single thing in this resume. And good advice, if you're applying to anything in general, don't get hung up on, oh, I have all of the experience except for that one thing there, that SASE zero trust solutions. I would say apply anyway, right? If you've been around networking, specifically network security for, let's say 8 years or so, and you have some certifications, and especially if you have prior consulting experience, those are the people that I really am looking for in this role. We do have other roles that come available from time to time, and I could obviously jump on here again with Jerry and go over those. But this time we're looking for more of a senior consultant that can really jump in and talk to our clients and look at what the project is, maybe even make recommendations about, hey, you know what? I see you guys are, let's say you're a Cisco shop and you're buying these Palos. Let's see if we can make something different work. Have those consultative discussions with our clients. That's really what we're looking for.
Awesome. All right. So Sean, thank you very much. And how can they apply to this position?
I would like you to actually just go ahead and share my direct email. I know this is probably going to be, it might blow up a little bit, but do you want me to just share that with you in the chat here?
Yeah, if you want to put in the chat, and you're telling me to put this in public chat, right? Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll drop this link in there. We have some questions coming in from the chat. First of all, while he's typing this in, I'm getting some feedback that you guys are enjoying this concept of a segment. So if people are enjoying that, I'll try to do this every Wednesday. We actually have another CIO who's looking to fill a role here in the state of South Carolina that messaged me. So I'll put questions and apply email here. Okay. And this is Sean's email. So get up on that. All right. So Sean, rapid fire questions for you. Okay. Michael Kelly says, can you share what you expect from a hire in the first 90 days?
Yeah, so first 90 days, good question. The first, I would say 90 days is really, for any job, is really just getting used to the company, the culture, the team, some of the clients that you'll be working with. But I would say within the first 90 days for a senior level position, somebody should be able to jump into engagements or projects that are assigned to them and be able to immediately start adding value. So by that 90-day mark, you should probably be underway with whatever project you're assigned. Say it's a Cisco ICE rollout, you should already be able to at least jump in there, have a plan, and start executing on it, right? We have more junior positions where I would totally answer that differently and say within 90 days, have your training plan completed and be on the way to working alongside a more senior engineer on engagements. This specific role is a senior engineer. So we're looking for somebody that already is very comfortable dealing with the consulting world, and having those soft skills as well is very important to be able to kind of understand every single client's different. They're all looking for different things, being able to get in there, kind of be that helpful hand in the context that they need.
Roswell UK wants you to define remote. He's in the UK. Is remote or remote within the United States?
Remote within the United States for this one. High Point does have a UK entity as well. And at some point, we're going to be looking, I think, to build out more cyber components in the UK. And at that point, we would have roles released that would be specifically for the UK. But this time, we're looking for US remote.
Elliot Matisse says, what success criteria are you expecting from them? And he actually goes as far as to qualify short, medium, and long term.
Oh, wow. Okay. So short term, actually, we're going to do a pretty good job of figuring out, are you a good fit for High Point, and is High Point a good fit for you during the interview process? So we'll assume that you've landed the job. And one of the short-term things is going to be understanding how High Point's approach to consulting works. So that would be kind of a short-term thing, being able to wrap your head around how do we interface with clients, interfacing with the team and figuring out who all the players are, what our structure looks like, understanding some of our go-to-markets and things like that. Medium term, I would say being able to lead engagements on a regular basis is going to be an important thing here. And then long term would be really figuring out ways to mentor the more junior consultants that we have in the group.
Perfect. Roswell UK, who is not going to be able to apply for this one, but asking a great question for the community. How much experience do you really expect them to have in those products versus, just being familiar maybe with like the technology space, right? So maybe not Palo Alto, but, or, you don't have Splunk, but you have Elk or something like that.
Yeah, I would say somebody that has really touched a lot of things and gone in depth on a lot of different product stacks. And like I said earlier, you're never going to have every qualification for a job rec that you apply to in most cases. And my advice again would be to, if you think you kind of feel like, hey, I hit the mark on a lot of these things here, and yeah, I haven't touched Palo's Prisma, but maybe I've played with Cisco's Umbrella, right? You can kind of say, okay, it's the same technology, it's the same general idea. If I had to pick up and learn something new at this point in my career, it's not going to be a huge burden on me or take a lot of time. Those are kind of the questions I would run through in my mind if I'm looking to apply for any position. If for example, if they're looking for somebody who has been it says like 20-year CISO position, right? I probably wouldn't apply to that, even though I have 20 years of cyber experience. I haven't been a CISO for 20 years. So what I would say is kind of look for, maybe in my case, I would say if somebody's like, 10 years of leadership experience, somebody who's preferably held the title of CISO or deputy CISO, and I could kind of rationalize that better in my mind. So that's definitely, it's a kind of contextual answer. I'm sorry, but it kind of depends. And I would say just kind of use your own judgment and go from there.
Final question before we pivot, Sean, and I don't know if you can disclose this or not, but is there a salary range for this position?
There is. That's something, it's definitely in line with the market trends. I would say it's definitely fair. That's something once you would apply and we would start having conversations, then I'll disclose that at that point. And it's this whole process, if you email me, and I will try to get back to everybody. If I get overwhelmed and my inbox gets slammed with 1,000 applicants, it might be a little harder to do that, but we're going to be running through these, and then we'll definitely contact anybody that we're interested in and go from there.
Awesome. So I've put the link to the job posting in chat several times. It's actually the pinned comment. If you want to apply or you want some more information, you can email Sean here at skilbourn@highpoint.com. Again, this is a very senior role with deep networking expertise. So if you're, pivoting into cybersecurity, you're in the entry levels, you're still just trying to understand some of the Sec Plus fundamentals, like this is not a position for you to apply for. Like you don't have to have all of these, but being real, if you don't have any of them, it's just not a good fit. And I'm glad that you guys like this segment. We're going to do more with this. Sean and I have been talking quite a bit on email, trying to organize things, and this could be a recurring segment. So go ahead and apply. And Sean, you've agreed to stay with us and do some jawjacking. So jawjacking, if you didn't know, Sean, is basically like a 30-minute segment. It'll be 17 minutes actually right now, where we basically get random questions from people in the community and we see, if we can help them. So if you're down for that, let's giddy up on it. Yeah.
I love it. Let's go.
All right, cool. All right. So chat, please let us know your questions, general AMA questions, if you will, on career, industry, etc. I'll open one with Sean, just out of curiosity. This is like a very meta question. With AI, Sean, are you thinking it's like a hype bubble, or are you seeing like practical gains with AI?
I think it's definitely some of the stuff that's out there may be hype, but I do think that there's been incremental gains made so far that have been actualized. And a good example, one of the things we're looking at right now is AI augmented offensive security. And in that, they're not solving everything, and it's not an easy, push the button and spit out a report necessarily, but it really helps our testers kind of work in a capacity of like 5 testers where you might have 2 actually assigned to the project. And the results you're seeing really allows them to take care of a lot of that low-hanging fruit and automate a lot of the things that would normally take them time to do, and focus in on those advanced attack chains and focus in on things that might be like business flaws, business logic issues in applications. And it also allows them to really spend their time being more consultative, which is really what we're getting paid to do. So that's just one example, but I think a lot of the things out there, if you are looking at AI to augment or to do a very specific task, I think that we're seeing some value in that. But I don't think we're there yet where Skynet is coming. Not yet anyway.
So we're joined with Sean Kilbourne, who is a director at High Point, which is a kind of a VAR/consulting services company. We did talk about a job posting to start the show, but he is answering questions as well. Michael Kelly wants to know, Sean, what do you consider effective ways to network with industry leaders like yourself in a remote arena? What are some ways that you connect with people in the community and within cybersecurity that is not just them applying to a job?
So one of the things you said, remote arena, but depending on where you're at, you might live in the middle of Wyoming where, not too much going on. I'm not sure. But one of the things that I would always say is go out and find those local meetup groups where you can really leverage that social connection with other people in your area. That's helped me land a job before, actually. And it was just showing up to these, I think they were like Tuesdays at 7 p.m. and somebody would go up and be a guest speaker on a topic. And then the rest of the time was just networking and socializing and just even building those relationships, because somebody might like you and then say, hey, you know what? I know so-and-so is looking for somebody right now and you're interested. That's one thing you could do. Obviously, being involved in discussions like this are great to just give you kind of knowledge about what's going on out there. Really, anything you can do that's going to bring you in with a whole group of people, lots of Slack channels and things like that out there now that you can join. I think that's really your best bet, is just get around the people, make yourself comfortable meeting people, getting to know people, and that kind of expands your social network organically, as opposed to just, hitting somebody up randomly on LinkedIn that you've never met.
100%. Space Tacos talking about getting to know you. Sean, what do you like to do if you didn't have this job? What kind of work would you want to do?
So being a veteran, actually, if I'd never gotten into cybersecurity, maybe I'll do this one day when I retire. But I think really helping veterans is kind of something that is big in my mind and in my heart. So that's probably, I would do something along those lines. And another thing I think I might pursue at some point is teaching and being able to give back and help people grow and learn and be the next up and coming, generation of leaders and practitioners in this field.
Oh, there you go. I love that. Also, Sean, if you ever make your way down to the Low Country, I'm faculty at the Citadel Military College, so you got
awesome.
an in at the Citadel.
That's awesome.
When it comes to senior leadership roles, what social media content would you consider positive exposure, and what would you give pause on? What type of content would you expect to see on, say, YouTube? I'll answer this first, just so I'm not, making you do all the work, Sean. And then we'll get your thoughts on this. I think LinkedIn's pretty solid. To me, it's like the business social media site. There's really nothing competing with it in that space right now. As far as giving pause on something, I wouldn't really give pause on anything. If you're running TikToks or whatever, we've seen with cybersecurity girl, she runs TikToks and she's wildly successful. So it doesn't really matter. I think when you get into, for me, I would start to give pause on content if you're doing like edgy fringe stuff, like hacking things and like disclosing in an unethical way or an irresponsible way. That to me would give insights into kind of like not your mentality, but like your matureness and how you view things. And it would give me pause because I think you would introduce risk to my organization if I hired you. Sean, thoughts on Ross's question here?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Jerry. I think really no content that would make somebody question hiring you. So you just got to think of that whenever you're putting content out there. Like, is this going to put me in a certain light where people might say, hey, you know what, you're the guy that did that video on, hacking Microsoft. Oh, and by the way, you forgot to ask their permission first or disclose the bug bounty to them, or, things like that. Yeah, I would steer clear of that. Anything else is pretty much fair game.
Yeah, and be careful on meta content as well. Let me just share like a fun story with you really quick. And Brandon, actually, Stevens, who's the mutual friend Sean and I was there for this. I ran an internship program, and we were bringing the interns in on, I think, Wednesday to interview, like back to back to back to back. And I forget how we encountered it or something, but like I found a Reddit post on Tuesday that said, hey, I'm going for an intern interview at 10 a.m. tomorrow at MUSC. If will they be drug testing me at that interview or not? Or will I have time to take a cleanse? And it's
Wow.
Yeah. So like practice decent OPSEC too. Like I'm not saying that, for whatever reasons, but just like when that person came in, it was like, hey, saw your post on Reddit about drug testing. They're like, what? And it's like, you like, so.
Yeah. Yeah. The OPSEC piece, big time. We actually years ago denied somebody who was a really strong candidate a position because they were applying for a penetration tester position. And, we're pretty good at OPSEC. So we went out and did some recon on this guy, and we were able to find some very, very not good things. I'm not going to share what they were about that this person had done. And because of that, and they put this content out there, we chose not to hire them. So yeah, it is possible. I would say really just put that in your mind. Like, first thing, is this going to keep me from getting a job later? Right.
Yeah. And I try to tell my kids now, like, I mean, the internet doesn't forget, right? I mean, like we many of us are very good at OSINTing, right? Like we can find these things. So just be mindful of that. And, so this is a question from me, Sean. Break down the pie slice on candidates. I mean, you hire lots of people all the time, but it's not just, can you configure a Palo Alto firewall, right? It's like, how well do you communicate? And I put other here because there might be dimensions I didn't qualify, but can you kind of break down the pie slices so people in chat can understand that it's, a multi-dimensional person they're looking for in general?
Sure. So one of the things that comes to mind immediately is my boss likes to talk about something called hungry, humble, smart. And hungry would be, do you have an aptitude to grow? Do you want to continue learning, especially in this field, right? We kind of need to stay on top of where the field's going. You can't learn something and then in 20 years expect to be relevant. So that's hungry. Humble would be somebody who's not, necessarily cocky or, I can't believe you didn't know that type of person. I've not hired somebody for personality fit before too. So it really is a big deal to be able to say, is this going to be a good team player and fit and mesh well with the culture of our team? Or is this going to be somebody who's going to be kind of a cancer to the organization or the team? And then smart would be, I don't like that term smart because it's very subjective, but I think it's really talking about the experience, the tech skill, how much experience in tech you have and how deep you go. Communication, soft skills, all of that, very important, especially today with the world being kind of more remote than it used to be, right? I used to work in an office every day, and that was, 8 years ago, I think. And I've been remote ever since, but being able to still have those conversations on video and be comfortable with those and just be comfortable around people, how you carry yourself is important. So I would say probably if we broke it down, like in this, I would say it'd probably be like, I don't know, maybe a third. I mean, because they're all important.
There you go. So all kind of equal parts, not one specifically stronger than the other. So I see a lot of people make mistakes of grinding wicked hard on the tech stuff. And I mean, even myself as a young person thought that I didn't really need to be communicative, even though I'm super extroverted. I thought like my tech skills, my meritocracy would win. And it's just not the reality. If you could be the smartest person in the room, but if you suck to sit next to on an airplane, no one wants to work with you. Right. So be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. We already asked this question. Variable X says, with the advancement of AI and ever-growing depth of knowledge needed for cyber, Do you think obtaining entry level roles will become harder? So kind of, Sean, a step back macro level picture of the cyber job market with a lens on the entry level kind of on ramps into.
Yeah, I've been looking at this because I've been doing a lot of hiring. The entry level market right now is very oversaturated. So you really have to find those things that are going to set you apart from other candidates. Being able to use AI, let's take that out of the picture right now. Let's just not talk about AI. Let's talk about what still really matters. And it's going to be, does the person, engage in cybersecurity outside of just, let's say you're an entry-level candidate and you have a college degree. Are they engaging in local meetup groups? Are they listening to podcasts? Are they doing things just to show that they're actually interested in the field? Number two would be certifications. What are they going out and trying to show that they're still striving to learn more and add things to their portfolio? And then obviously college helps, but in a lot of ways, in my opinion, it kind of sets you up for learning in the future. Unless you go to a highly technical program, a lot of times you're seeing college is kind of just the surface level of a lot of things, even for, computer science degrees and things that are heavy in tech. You usually learn more in the actual application of it. So once you land that first job, you're going to learn probably more in the 2 years than you did in the 4-year program you went to. That's just my opinion. The other thing is really not being stagnant. There's a difference between having 20 years of experience and 1 year of experience 20 times, right?
So well put.
Yeah.
So well put. Yeah. I actually was just talking to somebody yesterday who they said they deployed somewhere like to deal with an incident, and the person they're working with has 20 years of experience, but they've been doing literally the same job for 20 years. So they've never really grown, and they've been put into a senior position, but it's complete. They're completely over their head or underwater over their head, whatever. And it really is an interesting thing. Like, years of experience doesn't necessarily equate to skill set if you're not challenging yourself. Amish Runway says, I won't go anywhere without being able to take my own AI with me. How does that make you feel? Truly. All right. I'm not sure what that question is. I guess I'll put it this way, Sean. Are you using AI in your personal, like not personal, but like how is Sean using AI? I guess is probably the way to put it.
Yeah. First off, I make sure not to put anything crazy in there where I'm contributing to the model, right? But if I need help with something, or just, hey, explain to me the differences or a breakdown between these two topics real quick, that's kind of how I use it. I haven't fully invested and created my own models or private models or anything like that. And our organization is kind of looking right now at, okay, if we want to roll out something like Copilot for the organization, what safeguards and guardrails are we going to put around it? But as far as that question goes, bringing your own AI, I'm not really sure, unless he means like still utilizing his own private model for things, which is great. But yeah, you can't put corporate data in there. So
yeah, we're a little bit of ways from that.
Yeah.
So really quick, we've got. I just want to share this really quickly. We have Simply ICS Cyber coming up at 9:30, so just in 60 seconds. So we're going to go over and rate on that. We've been talking with Sean Kilburn. Is that said right? Sean Kilburn?
Kilborn. Close enough.
There's his address, his email address right there at the top of the AMA. We actually talked about this role. So if you're just jumping in here, scrub back to 1 hour time mark on the stream here, and you'll see us talk all about this position. It is a senior remote U.S. You have to live in the U.S., but it's a senior remote network security engineer role. Lots of opportunity, very competitive salary, a very cool company. Sean answered a bunch of questions, so go ahead and just run through the feed. But if you want to apply to the job or you have additional questions, Sean has his email right there on stream, skilbourn at highpoint.com. Sean, I want to say thank you so much for being with us. It's been really fun, and I hope if you had a good experience, you come back and party with us. That's what we do.
Love to. Yeah, this has been fun.
All right. Any final thoughts for anyone before we go? Because the premiere is going to start here in just a minute. Any final thoughts for anyone where they can connect with you? LinkedIn? Do you do speaking? Do you have any projects you want to share?
So yeah, I would say LinkedIn is probably the easiest way. And I don't have my LinkedIn page up, but I can throw it in here to the chat real quick if you want me to.
Yeah, heck
So
yeah, that'll be fun.
It.
Always good to connect with like-minded professionals. The company,
Absolutely.
I can tell you guys, not a plant. Sean works at High Point. I have a friend, a good friend, who works at High Point, and Sean, and he speaks very highly of it. I've got Sean's LinkedIn profile right here, so everybody can see it. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and connect with you as well. I won't send you a note. So I'll drop a link in chat right now if you'd like to connect with Sean as well. There is his LinkedIn. All right, guys, we're going to go over and raid. You can see here, Gundam intro style is there. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. He's Sean Kilborn. Thank you so very much. And until next time, stay secure.